Not yet. Not yet.
There.
Oh, did you? Beaumont Economic Development Committee to order at 4:01. Roll call of members. Mayor Pro Tem Ray Santos, absent. Councilmember Mike Lara, absent. City Manager Todd Parton, absent. Economic Development Manager Kyle Warzinski.
I'm here.
Member Monir Ahmed is absent. Bernie Belan, I'm present. Dr. Evan Brown, here. Alan Coblin is absent. Vaughn Lawson,
Present.
Rob Moran,
Present.
Beatty Rader,
Present.
Kimberly Stars, absent. Karen Wheat,
I'm here too.
and Beaumont Unified School District student Angela Segovia.
I'm here. And it's Angelina, by the way.
Okay, that was a misprint, so not my fault.
That's on me, not on you.
Okay, Angelina.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Angelina. Is this your second meeting or first meeting?
My second.
Good deal. So I missed last month, so thank you for coming. Good to see you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, is there any excused absences that we need to approve?
None to my knowledge.
None? And any approval or adjustments to the agenda?
None.
Nothing. Any conflict of interest disclosures? No? All right, at this time, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. All right. So I don't see any members of the community here for public comment, so we will move on to item 2, approval of the minutes for November's meeting. I wasn't present, so I will yield to one of the other members.
I will motion that we approve the minutes from November 13th.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I will abstain. All right, minutes are approved. Thank you. Item 2B, update of projects from city staff. Mr. Warzinski.
Thank you, sir. The updates we have for this meeting are some of the long-term ones. Potrero Bridge is pretty much done, and we should be able to be driving on that in the near future. The wastewater treatment plant is continuing along on schedule and under budget. So the phase 1 of that facility, actual facility at the Beaumont location, will be open, hopefully, barring not crazy inclement weather over the rainy season, by summer, which meets our extended deadline with the regional board, what their requirements are. And the pipeline that's being installed from Beaumont all the way to San Bernardino is around 75% complete. So I think it's around 21 miles out of 24 some odd miles that are already installed in the town. So that's exciting. Other projects of note is the San Gorgonio Village is obviously going out of the ground. We've started to see more progress on some of the other buildings in addition to just the grocery outlet and the Planet Fitness. So that project's moving along. The other buildings that you're seeing going up are some inline shops and the Ulta Beauty, as well as the Five Below. And then I was on the phone with the movie theater owner this week, and they're intending to pull permits, hopefully by the end of this year. And they said that construction for that type of facility takes roughly 9 or 10 months or so. So if all goes well, then hopefully we'll be looking at that theater, its ribbon cutting and grand opening prior to the heavy movie season that's accompanied by Thanksgiving and Christmas time, those are normally when the huge movies comes out. So hopefully this one will be open for next season, so all of us can go partake in those at our Beaumont location versus driving out of town. I think that's all the significant projects of note that I can think of. And obviously Todd might have some other ones that I forgot about.
Let the record reflect that Mayor Mike Lara and Economic City Manager Todd Parton have joined us. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good to see you. We're on item 2B, updates of projects from city staff. So Kyle, did you say that the Potrero Bridge is not 100% open yet? So my wife shouldn't have been driving on it? I told her not to.
Yeah, she probably.
No, she told me, she was like, are you sure it's open? I don't think we're supposed to drive on it yet, but
If the barricades are down, it's open.
yeah, and I know the Facebook group in the community I live in, they posted that it's open, so the secret passage to Home Depot and Walmart is open as far as my community is
It's a
concerned.
back route, right?
Yeah,
It's actually a pretty quick shot from you guys to Dowling Orchard fruit stand now.
right?
Because you can just go all the way around. You never
Yeah.
have to take your life into your hands on the freeway again.
Yeah, that's good, so,
If she drives it enough, she might find out if it's officially open or not.
right, yep.
Dowling.
Yeah, we drove on it, so it was nice. It was nice.
It's good to go.
Good, yeah.
I've been down to Walmart. We got the new left-hand turn signals installed into last week. So the traffic flow moves better around Walmart over there now. So that's there at Commerce Way. So where the old driveways were, you know, that people used to come in and out a little bit further to the east, we close it off to right only and right out only. So we've added the traffic signals now to facilitate traffic
Cool.
around there. So
That's right. I saw that today.
Kyle, I had a question, and forgive me if you've covered this in another meeting that I wasn't at, but the project or proposed project south, I guess it'd be it's on the south side of the freeway, I guess it's southwest of the new bridge. Is that industrial?
Yes.
What were I thought I saw a site plan, and I want to make sure I was remembering it right in my mind, but that's a couple industrial buildings, fairly
Two
good
buildings.
sized ones?
One's $1 million, one's $1.8 million.
Okay, now I'm remembering it correctly. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
We'll have, potentially a new owner that's set to develop it in the near future within the next month or so, if escrow goes well and they close on it.
Is that entitled, or is that just in?
It's fully entitled,
Oh, wow.
but the current owners are not necessarily developers. They probably could, but from staff's interactions with them, there's really no intention or desire for them to develop, so they've been shopping it to someone that actually construct.
Got it. Thank you.
Good deal. Any other questions for Kyle? Todd, did you have anything on updates? Any other questions from the members for either Todd or Kyle on projects from city staff? Seeing no other questions, we'll move on to item C, chamber presentation.
Okay, kicking and screaming, Kyle has finally got me here to do my presentation. I had a handout at the front door, if everyone got that, I hope. Going to try not to read this from my notes, but first I am going to read a definition of a chamber of commerce. A chamber of commerce is a form of business network. For example, a local organization of businesses whose goal is to further the interests of businesses. Business owners in towns and cities from these local societies to advocate on behalf of the business community. Local businesses are members and they elect a board of directors. The board and the council then hires a president, CEO, or executive director, which is what I am, plus staffing appropriate to the size to run the organization. Chambers in general, I had no background, but keep an observation of the Banning Chamber, the Calamasa Chamber, the Kaipa Chamber. In general, they have a Citizen of the Year event, Business of the Year, Member of the Year, an installation of officers event. They will go around and welcome new homeowners and give them information on businesses. They have functions that the members will all attend to network within the businesses. We do ribbon cuttings, lunch and learns. A State of the City is a big event. Some chambers get very political. The California Chamber will be political. The National Chamber is very political. We currently try to stay away from the political aspect of life. We have, a lot of chambers have market nights, farmers markets. Most chambers are subsidized by the city in which they function. Banning recently was given $30,000 from their city. Cal Mesa, the city puts on the whole state of the city for them, and they are highly involved with many city activities such as their Christmas parade, which they're mad at us for right now because we're both having our parades on the same day. I didn't know that. I knew we were having the same day, but I didn't know upset them. Didn't seem to bother us. The Yucaipa Chamber is a really vibrant chamber, but they only have one employee, and the city gives them all of their support services, including the office out of the city building. So there's many ways to run a chamber. Prior to the city's financial issues that we had here in Beaumont, we had a very active, involved chamber, and they were very actively involved with the city. The Beaumont Chamber now is a little different. The ripple effect of the financial issues with the city changed the total operation of our chamber. All of the chamber employees were laid off except for one person that was kept on a very part-time basis to handle the financial aspects. Lynn Baldy, well, we entered into a very dark period. Lynn Baldy sat for day after day on a volunteer basis and literally almost single-handedly saved the chamber from going under. I don't know if any of you know that. She and some additional volunteers kept the chamber open, kept it operating. I came to the chamber 3 years ago. At that time, we had to count every photocopy. We had to watch how many trash bags we used. We rented space within the building to other people to get office rent. I don't drink coffee there because I get yelled at about the cost of coffee. I still don't drink coffee. But the chamber was saved, and it's a very impressive story that they were able to save the chamber. Now, one huge saving grace for our Beaumont chamber is the fact that through the wisdom of Lyle Milledge, if any of you remember Lyle, we own our building, and I don't think very many chambers do. So we don't have to pay rent, we don't have to pay taxes, but we own our building, which is probably what really helped save the chamber and kept it operating. But we're slowly coming back to normal operations. We have 5 employees at the chamber, however, all of us are part-time, so we total about 1.5 people. And what I think the most important thing the chamber does is we do a lot of advertising and media, and if you're a member of the chamber, all of that is free. So we have an email blast system that reaches about 400 businesses. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, another website, and then our own website. We have Good Morning Beaumont breakfast, which quite a few of you have attended from time to time. There's usually 60 to 70 people there. It's a great networking opportunity. It's this Friday, by the way, if anybody wants to go. And I know that Redlands has a breakfast, and they had 12 people, which made me feel really good. We had that good of a turnout. So that's a really good event for us. Our State of the City is another great event. We have gotten over 250 people the last 2 years. It's been a really vibrant event for the chamber. We also are getting ready on January 30th. We're going to have our Citizen of the Year and installation of officers. We get around 180 people that attend that. So these are great networking opportunities. We also office Winter Wish, which is there right now. We do ribbon cuttings. You don't have to really be a member to get a ribbon cutting. We work with Kyle and Ashley closely on that. We're starting to do our mixers again. Those have been stopped during the dark period. you know, the little shop local signs that you see on the businesses, that's from the chamber. In the chamber, we have racks and racks of business cards and flyers and all kinds of things from all of our members. We get 20, 25 people in a week that are coming into the chamber and want to have this question, that question, and so they pick up that information. So that's another thing that we do for our members. We do have a conference room to rent, except right now it's full of toys. If you're a member, you can get our membership list, which can help you know, farm for your business. We do refer, like Grand Party Rentals is one of our members, and we just had a caterer join, so we sent the caterer down to Grand Party Rentals so that they could work together on events. So we work on that. We do have SCORE counseling for new businesses or people that are interested. We have our website. Our website's very, very old, but we cannot afford to buy a new one. And we have a blood drive tomorrow if anyone wants to come and get blood. So the chamber kind of is at a crossroads right now. We're doing about as much as we can with the money that we have and the staff that we have. So we're looking to either continue as we are or maybe join some partnerships with the city again. Thank you. Any questions?
Good deal. Thank you, Betty. Any questions for Betty?
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your service to the chamber and keeping it rolling for the city of Beaumont. Kyle, anything on the chamber that you'd like to add?
I think that Betty did a really good presentation on kind of the history for some of the members within the room that may not have been aware of that, as well as kind of the key functions that other chambers provide, as well as the functions that our chamber is providing. I do want to give a really nice shout out to the chamber with their limited staff and volunteers, that when we started to have new businesses open again, and for a while there, just because of how the market works, we just weren't having new businesses. But the second that they started up, Betty and Susan took the lead on creating grand openings and ribbon cuttings again, which is something that the city itself probably should stay out of, but we also wanted those businesses to be showcased and welcomed in by the city, by city staff, by the community, and by the chamber. So we're very appreciative for them to step up to the plate and kind of produce a product and a service that the city itself can't necessarily take on.
All right.
So yeah, with everything that Betty did explain, we are appreciative that they've done that. And then I think there'll be other programs that we may envision and try to roll out as a partnership between the city and the chamber as things move forward.
Well, I just ordered 400 more yards of red ribbon, so.
There you go.
Full discount?
Yeah.
Grand opening special.
Good deal, ready to go. So when did you say the breakfast was, Betty?
The Good Morning Beaumont breakfast is this Friday. It starts at 7:30, but you want to get there at 7 so you can network and get a seat.
And that's
This
still at
month-
Tuckwit?
Yes, at Tuckwit, yes. This month is there's no cost, but we are taking a free will donation for Child Help USA.
Oh, cool. Good deal.
And is it the speaker, or is Child Help doing their
Child Help,
Christmas?
no, Child Help will speak. Then we also have a gentleman from the census, the U.S. Census, is going to speak just a short speech on the census and why we take the census and how all that's going to work. Because this is the only month I could get him in. It's relevant, it's timely, and then we're going to have some entertainment. And I think Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus is going to be there.
That's sweet. I'm probably coming now.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Betty. We appreciate your presentation. Good deal. Is there any other questions or comments about the chamber's presentation? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 2D, the Business of the Month program. I wasn't here last month, so I don't know what did you guys switch up on that, or?
We made a little bit of progress, and that was just that the city and the chamber had an initial meeting to kind of discuss how to package that program. I think you'll remember that we discussed the complications related to the city's involvement or the city's real taking the lead on that type of thing.
Right.
So we're starting discussions from staff to the chamber to see how to package that program, what it needs to look like. And I can't necessarily tell them that. I
Right.
can just provide some insight on some of the research that I've performed and what business of the month programs I've seen that have been successful. And then ultimately, it'll be, I think, a chamber decision by obviously not Betty, but the board of directors on whether they want to start off slow and how to do that. If it's just going to be a spotlight, or does it go to that full-blown extent where they're doing like those interview videos, right, that we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that initial meeting, I was trying to offer up Dr. Brown's students to see if they have video experience where they may be involved in that. I'm not sure if there's a club or if there's certain curriculum at the high school where you would have some video students that have the capability, because otherwise, I mean, if you stick Betty and I out there, we're going to be doing stuff on our smartphone, right? So that was
That's
an
the way to do
idea
it, right?
that came up. So that's just an example of concepts that we're coming up with, and then as we move forward, we'll start discussing with the rest of the committee members and maybe other members of the community how we'll go about implementing that program.
Time frame? Out 6 months?
Oh,
After
at least,
Christmas.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, we have the installation on the 30th of January, which is rather absorbing in the office. However, it has been discussed, not with our board, but with our board does meet next week. We would like to develop a committee, not necessarily the chamber board, but chamber members that would develop a committee and develop criteria. The only thing I kind of felt strongly about is it would have to be chamber members. If the chamber is going to run this function, the other chamber members would not be very happy if we picked a non-chamber member. So, but that's kind of where we were heading. What we would do, whether we would spotlight them in the Record Gazette. The Record Gazette will not let me spotlight businesses in our Beaumont now, because to them, that's taking away advertising business from them. So we may have to pay for advertising. And so we have to work through all of that and how it's going to work and what the cost is going to be. So I'm kind of in that stage.
But at least the idea is rolling forward, huh?
Yes.
That's good. Any questions or comments about the Business of the Month program? Ideas, thoughts, input? Seeing none, we'll move on to E. This was apparel for committee members. This was Alan's.
Alan had requested we put this on this meeting because he was out of town at the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Was unable to attend. I'm sure something came up and he was unable to attend again today because he's fairly consistent on his attendance.
Right.
So I don't know if we, as the committee, want to discuss it tonight or if we want to take a vote to continue it to the next meeting.
Did he have a specific issue?
I think he just wanted to be able to designate the committee in certain events, right? Hats or a
I
shirt
would
or,
suggest we table it until he's present, since he's kind of championing.
Oh, you mean like
whatever
have
the
t-shirts?
discussion
Mhm.
is.
Correct, yeah, because I couldn't necessarily tell you what the rationale for it is.
what the vision is.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest we wait until he's able to present on the topic.
Good deal.
I agree.
So,
motion or?
motion to,
Made one.
yeah.
I'll say that make a motion.
Just made one. You want
So we have a motion and a second to postpone this until next committee meeting. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. We'll postpone that until next month. Let the record reflect that member Ahmed has joined us. Welcome, Munir. Good to see you.
Traffic.
We're currently on F, item 2F, topics for future agendas. The meeting's going along pretty smooth. I don't know if Kyle, do you want to discuss any of this part?
Let me see here. I mean, some of these have been on there for a while now, like the potential auto mall site development item. That was one that kind of came up as a result of staff meeting with the auto dealer that was interested in looking within Beaumont. Since those discussions have somewhat ceased at this point in time, because that development's not going to occur, at least with those.
Not this year.
Yeah, not this year, and definitely not with that development group. I mean, we could talk about it, and we can talk about the benefits of an auto mall. We can also discuss the difficulties to attract one of those within an area that's in somewhat close proximity to other locations that have them. Because that's one of the largest obstacles is obviously Ford's not going to open up a dealership in a city right next to another one. That doesn't happen here, but I mean, it's not as simple as city to city. They look at different trade areas and regions.
Right.
So if that's something that we want to discuss, I can put that on a future agenda. The only issue is that right now there's really no irons in the fire on that type of thing. So I don't know if you think there's any value to that, if you want to understand about it or understand more about that topic, or if it's something that we just want to keep on there or even remove.
The pleasure of the floor, the committee. Anybody? Anybody have any comments about the potential auto mall sites and developments?
I'd be okay with removing it at this time unless we have somebody that's, actually interested or that we're talking to bring it back at that point. That way I think we can narrow the list of topics down to something that we can move forward on and discuss in more detail. That's my thought.
I agree. I don't know how you guys feel, but
I have a question. Not proposing that we keep the item on there. So auto mall, the discussion was about the new dealership, right? Or it was all inclusive, either used car lots or new dealership. It was all inclusive, was it, or just?
The concept was that we had interest from one, and that's all well and good, but how do we, as the city, start trying to attract more within an area? I'm not going to downplay the importance of one dealership, but it's much nicer to have a row of car dealers next to each other, because often when people go looking for a new automobile, they want to test drive the competition as well, right? If you're looking for a Camry, you might want to test a Civic or a Ford or a Chevy, right? And if you have those in close proximity to each other, the percentage of success in selling that car in that city, I think, is much higher than it is if they can test drive that Toyota here, but then the nearest Ford dealership's over in Redlands, and then you have Chevy over in Banning. What if they go to the Chevy in Banning and they really like the Malibu and they never come back here? So that was kind of the idea, was what we might want to do as the city to incentivize those, or what we can prepare to land them within an area. But since the first one is kind of quiet or on the shelf now, it may not be that important of a topic to discuss.
So would that be the same for, let's say, what I was asking is the pre-owned idea? Because usually pre-owned lots is not dealer, it's not model specific, it's a mix.
Correct. Yeah, from my perspective as an economic development professional, we don't necessarily go out and solicit used cars unless it's a CarMax.
I see.
Because the CarMax model is proven, and they sell a lot of cars. So that's a proven model under used cars. Otherwise, you'll see a a small contingent of small used car dealerships, which often change names or change locations or those things, and it's, I'll put it honestly and bluntly, it's not necessarily worth the limited resources that we have to try to bring those in. Now, a CarMax has staying power, and they have revenue because they sell a significant amount of cars, and I think Rob can attest to that, just on the volumes that go through those. So that's one that we've
Right.
tried for in the past.
Okay, so we have a motion to remove the potential auto mall sites. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Good deal. So we will remove item 2 under topics for future agendas. And do we want to discuss possibly moving anything else up? Anybody, any of the committee want to throw one of these out there that you guys would like to see discussed in future agendas?
Well, on number 3, downtown beautification facade contest with awards, and Susan and I had talked about Adopt a Corner. So if we could just add Adopt a Corner, probably not ready to put it out there yet because we're doing the business of the month.
Mm-hmm.
We probably want to get that off the ground first, but maybe if we, if the chamber gets more vibrant, it can work into that, because that seems to be a good chamber type topic.
Sure, I'll add it as part of that one.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So-
We'll put Susan in there.
So we're just going to add that to that, but we're not going to put that on next month's agenda.
No.
That's just going to be to add to that topic.
Yes.
Good deal. Anybody else want to champion to put one of these on future agendas? Take it, Dr. Brown.
Well, we had talked a few meetings ago about the possibility of an apprenticeship program in the city. And so I don't know where that fits. I know it would be something new, but discussing the possibilities of starting apprenticeship programs with local businesses for students and citizens alike. It's not on the list, but I'm not sure if there's interest in adding something else.
Do we have internships or something like that at one point, or discussion of internships? Was that what it was?
Yes.
How did that play out?
We started the initial discussions. We've ran into some more like HR personnel issues between the contracts that this community college is asking for and versus kind of what we're able to do. So there's some, it's possible that we may be able to modify that. But I think a lot of it had to do with whether that school had students in programs that would directly relate to what I do, or what Todd does, or what a planner or an engineer here at the city does. And that's kind of where I left it, because the community college has certain vocational trade programs and certain core curriculum programs, but a AA degree doesn't have business majors, or they don't have engineering majors, because they're not teaching those courses. So myself and the gentleman that worked for Mapsan and Senho, we're trying to figure out how students would be getting credit at the campus for things that didn't necessarily meet their curriculum needs at the campus. So because we wouldn't be just working on like language arts here at the city, or things like that. So that's kind of where we ran into somewhat of a roadblock. And I think we can start those discussions again with the college. But that's kind of the best update I have for you now. So we are exploring internships with other entities. I recently had conversations with University of California, Riverside on their internship program throughout their business school, because I went to a seminar in which there was a private business that was talking about how nice it was to get interns from the college.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them, I was like, so if you give it out to private businesses, do you have any programs that work for government? Because you may have some people that are going to school that are interested in business, but may want to enter into the public sector like Rob and I. So might as well offer that. So we started those types of discussions.
Was the school doing some type of work program or something that they're trying to get started, or?
Yeah, we've been working on our work experience plan.
Is that maybe something that we could put on a future agenda? Like maybe a work experience plan that we as the committee can discuss to help the local school district with that?
I think our
Ideas or
yeah.
businesses?
I think, wasn't the concept of that to try to look at whether businesses have some opportunities, and we were looking to try to develop our local young workforce?
Mm-hmm.
That was the concept, right?
Right.
For that.
Mhm.
So I think to maybe bring it back as a future discussion point to talk about program, maybe look at whether there's some other programs out there in the area that maybe
Right.
we could model after,
Okay.
something like that.
You guys good with putting that one on topics for future agenda?
Sure.
So worded, committee was work with school district program, workforce program or something?
And the community college, and I think Todd, you're
Yeah.
what I was gonna say, that maybe it's not just in turning into the city programs, but maybe broader into the employer group. So, of course, community college has, and to a certain degree, maybe school district also have students who are planning on a limited education plan and then going to the workforce. One of the challenges young people face into is, well, they're coming out but with no experience. And it may not be a technical writer for the city, but it may be a salesperson somewhere, or in nowadays like the solar installation, this and that. So the variety of businesses, the program you're talking about at UCR, they do have partnership or to the community where they help the student be placed into the private businesses. And the benefit of having that organized program, one is people know how to get started. The other is there are some terms and conditions. If I'm taking in some young people, I want to know what risk exposure, what liability waiver they're maybe, required to sign and vice versa and so forth. And this, if it could be developed as a single program, then not every individual business who wants to take some is going to have to renegotiate or reinvent. It's more of a setting up the template for whoever interested may be able to use it. Again, the city does not necessarily have to endorse it, but just enable other people to agree to and take on.
So good. So there sounds like there might be some good discussion that can be had at a future meeting, so we could put that on the agenda for future.
Yeah, and I will tell you that we are very actively, as Dr. Brown had mentioned, that the secondary schools are looking at apprenticeships at Mount San Jacinto. Matter of fact, that's one of my responsibilities. And although Dr. Brown doesn't know it, he was going to get a call from us in the new year, the new decade in 2020, as we are working with our Deputy Secretary Navigator statewide on a pre-apprenticeship program for this entire region.
Oh, okay.
And we know that Beaumont High School would be an excellent opportunity to introduce that to some of those young people. There's a lot of money out there right now for that, and they want us to work with our secondary schools. The other thing is, it's a little more difficult, as you said, to find young people, especially in the community colleges, to fit into a government entity. In the four-year setting where they have public policy and urban planning programs, it's usually more easy. In the community colleges, in our career education side, it's much more easy to put students into internships and apprenticeships. Why? Because it is applicable and it's hands-on. As an example, we received a call from Precision Handling down in Banning. They wanted to do some internships. They're a forklift company, and they need students to come out. So it's much easier for me to introduce them to our professors in that area and put students into internships there. It's much easier when I get a request from a local business owner that has an automotive shop or a nursing and or child development where they need interns to come in. So we can definitely have those discussions. We'd love to work with you. We'd love to work with the city to be the conduit for that in working with businesses locally here, maybe through the chamber, who are interested in having those students in those respective programs come in and work. Just met with a gentleman this morning who is going to begin the process of developing our first construction degree, just construction certificate and degree program. It'll take us about 12 months, but that's his responsibility. That is in our division here, because we know as we look around, houses are going up on every corner. And so that's not going to be a field that's going anywhere soon. So we're trying to position ourselves to be ready.
Good job. So then we'll go ahead and put that on the agenda for future meetings, maybe next meeting. Might be a good time to have that discussion. And then that'll allow us to roll into committee member reports.
Yes, sir.
So if you have anything else to discuss on that, now would be the time to discuss any updates, input, or things that the committee members have relevant for the committee.
No, sir, just what we just reported, the work that we're moving towards.
I was slow on that one. I should have switched to committee member reports.
Sorry about that.
I think that would be a great presentation in the future. Then
Yes, sir.
it sounds like there's a lot happening in that space that you in particular, your team are working on.
Absolutely.
That would be very, very relevant.
Yeah.
Angelina?
I would like to say that having more like internships and all that, I think that's a very good idea because me as a student myself, I would like to be an intern for like law, a lawyer or something like that. So I think that's a very good idea. But other than that, I would like to introduce myself to the people I didn't see last time. I think I did not see you last time.
No.
Says you were.
There's more
Man, how did that happen? Are you getting credit for being here? I'll go ahead and fix that.
But yeah, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Angelina, and I'm the student representative. So yeah, I look forward to being with you guys more.
Good job.
Thank you.
Tom?
I'm just going to remind everybody that, and Rob, you probably don't remember this at the last meeting, but Angelina committed to being a city manager. That's what she's going to do. So we are very excited to hear that. And just remember that the Broncos are taking on the Raiders in the last game of the season. So it'll be a fun game.
I think we have lunch on that, don't we?
You didn't learn anything from that Oklahoma Texas.
I've been buying everybody lunches. I need some sustenance
I'm
now.
still waiting on the Danish.
I think about that like once a month.
And you know I don't need it, right?
On a Wednesday.
No, sir, I don't know that.
Good deal. Thank you, Todd. Dr. Brown?
Yeah, so I just have one announcement and informational item only. Some of you may have heard that, all of you have probably heard that we're struggling with facilities in the school district right now. And so the houses are being built, the students are coming every day, and we're seeing a growth of about 4% per year. So that equates to roughly 350 to 400 students every year added into our school district. And so with that comes many challenges, and those challenges are directly related to facilities. And so the Board of Trustees a few meetings ago did decide and push forward a vote to move forward on pursuing a bond that will be out in the March ballot. And so knowing the fiscal situation with the city and knowing the property tax rates and those sorts of things are very sensitive to that. But our board, who is exceptional, felt that it was their duty to at least move forward with something and put it forward to the voters to decide if they would like to see us procure a bond of $98 million to build facilities and expand some of our schools and be able to accommodate the growth that we're seeing. So unfortunately, the state right now is not pushing down money for facilities, and so We're in a very unique position in Beaumont. We are growing, whereas most districts are in declining enrollment throughout the entire state. As a matter of fact, we're the fastest growing school district in Southern California right now, and the third fastest growing city in all of California. So with that comes facilities, and one way to do that is to go out for a bond and see if the community is willing to help us out in terms of building facilities. So that will be a big topic of conversation in the very near future. And you might, if you live in the city of Beaumont, you might be receiving a call to ask for assistance or help on that measure. So the measure will be Measure B, as in boy, and we're looking forward to putting it in the voters' hands. So.
Or B as in build.
There he is in build.
Dr. Brown, can you, and the memory doesn't serve me very well, so the cost of a new high school, I was floored by that when I found out. Can you let me know, or let the group know what that is?
Yeah, so we've had several estimates, and roughly the average cost is about $200 million for a new high school, comprehensive high school. Paris Union High School District just passed a bond. I live in that area, and their high school is they've estimated at $200 million.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not bragging or anything, but we built a sewer plant for $110 million. I'm just saying.
No connection to either.
That's a district initiative, right? Nothing to do with the Prop 13. It's a district initiative.
Right. Yes.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
But the district will also be part of the state initiative if it makes it, right?
Of the Prop 13?
Yeah.
No. So a local board, and especially our board, they try to stay out of all politics. It's just not a kind of like with the city. It's not a healthy way to conduct business. This is a local decision to again move it forward to the voters so that they have a right to decide in their own municipality.
I saw the sign at my daughter's school that says your child attends a school that's near capacity. They could potentially be moved to a different. Were those signs always there?
Yeah, our elementary schools are just about at capacity. We're constantly monitoring where there is room, seat room, classes, available classrooms. It's very tight right now, and so we have had to do some maneuvering with some schools that are just at capacity. We have a couple overflow schools where students have been diverted to, and because there's just very limited room right now. Even though we just built a brand new elementary school a year and a half ago that opened, we're still at that position. If you really think about it, 400 students a year, an additional student population a year. Our elementary schools are right at about 800 students per school. So you're looking at, if it was just concentrated in elementary, you're looking at a school every other year, which thankfully it's not. It's distributed between middle school and high school. So, and many of you know that we are on track to build Summerwind Trails K-8 school on the west side of town. That the naming committee brought that name forward last night at the board meeting, and the board approved to name it Summerwind Trails K-8 school. And so there are other plans to build a K-8 school on the east side of town as well. But it doesn't solve our high school crowding issue. So.
When's the summer one expected to open? 2022?
21-22, fall of 21-22.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Brown? Other questions? I don't have any report other than we did hold another boot camp. Since I wasn't with you guys last month, I didn't get to invite you guys, but we hold the boot camps for the students to come out and see what the electrical apprenticeship is all about. We hosted Palm Springs, Coachella Valley area, and even some students from Blythe were able to come out. So we had 95 students come all the way from out there to our training center and see what the trades have to offer. So that's always a good opportunity. So if any of you guys are know of some students that don't exactly know what they want to do as far as college after high school. You can give them my contact info and I can help them with any of the trades so that they can at least know what they need in order to apply.
I told you my 10-year-old son's going to be calling you.
He's ready. He's ready.
He's ready. He needs to go to work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they got to be 18 at least. So. I'm sure we.
I ask him all the time, when are you moving out?
I bet. Yeah. My 9-year-old too. She'll be 10. So. Too much. Betty?
Well, we already discussed Good Morning Beaumont this Friday. Hope you can make it. Tuckwood Golf Course, 7 o'clock. And a reminder, January 30th is our Citizen of the Year event. Jim and Linda Anderson, who own Cherry Valley Nursery, will be our Citizens of the Year. I don't know how many of you know them, but they are magnificent people that do a lot within the community. Just extremely generous to the chamber and always willing to help out. So we're going to honor them. Mark your calendars.
I don't have anything to say.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Rob. Karen, nothing? Pass one there. Pass one there. Kyle, your turn.
All right, I got a couple items for you. So the city's were you going to talk about the Christmas parade?
Go right ahead, sir.
All right,
Stole
I
his
don't wanna
thunder.
ruin your thunder.
No, that's all right.
So the Christmas parade's on Saturday, Heather? See, I got it right. 6 p.m. And there's a new route this year. So we're trying to bring it through the downtown corridor along Beaumont Avenue to incentivize patronage to those businesses.
Cool.
So that's a new one.
So what is it? Beaumont Avenue? Does it still go through Palm?
No, I don't think it goes on Palm. I think it'll just come right here, queue up on Beaumont Avenue and 6th, then go north, and then end north on Beaumont Avenue. So no more Palm, at least for this year. We'll see how that goes. And then ends come back here, so it makes a little loop. No? Oh, okay.
Deal.
You got part of it, right?
You're gonna be in
At
it,
least I
Kyle?
got the day right. I didn't get much else right. No, I should
It's all
have.
right.
I should have let you do it.
Next time. More than I did.
I will get this one right. We do have a city council budget workshop on next Tuesday, and that's at 5 p.m. and the location is here. So I got that one spot on. No? Oh man, I'm just gonna go home now. And then lastly, I'm not exactly sure if everyone's aware of it, but the Beaumont community itself was spotlighted in the New York Times yesterday.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen that article, just let me know and I can shoot you a link to it. You can click on it and kind of read through everything.
Can you share that with the community?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll just hit the send all.
Yeah, send it
over
to us.
I'll send it out so you can kind of read through it. It's fairly well done.
Barely. They said we could make it to LA in 2 hours, or
I didn't get into that.
or you can make it to Redlands in 20 minutes. It said, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
May have said that. But yeah, that.
To the New York Times, that doesn't mean anything.
They highlight some of the community members like Lynn Baldy's in the article, and so is Terrence Davis, the superintendent, talking about growth in the school district. So it's a really well written article in the New York Times. We're famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now we can always say Beaumont, the New York Times highlighting the community. There's probably a better way to coin that, but we're working on marketing materials as we speak to at least talk about the fact that the city was recognized, and you don't get that for small reasons. So I think they've seen a community that has benefits to live in, is affordable, has a great school district, and has overcome some financial challenges, so that's in there.
Right.
But it does talk about how the city has turned that corner and is leading the charge on becoming a progressive city versus some others that, it doesn't go into the others, but I mean, we've seen what happens with other cities that go through financial crisis. Sometimes they don't rebound from it,
All right.
and then they kind of get stuck.
Cool. Well, yeah, share that with us. We'll look forward to reading it. Mayor Pro Tem Laura.
Yes. In addition to the electric light parade, which is, runs a close second to the Disney's Electric Street Light Parade, so
Right.
know that. You can also enjoy the craft fair, which is here from 4 to 8. So you can enjoy handcrafted ornaments, maybe you get your Christmas shopping done, I'm just saying, it's quite possible. And that'll be here.
This Saturday also?
They may even have some Amish handcrafted items, I'm just saying, so you need to come and check it out, make sure you're there.
Saturday also?
That is Saturday, so you can do
Same time
like a
parade's
whole
going on.
half day. I'm sorry?
Before the parade. And part.
Yeah,
I thought the parade started at 6:30.
so the craft fair is from 4 to 8.
Uh-huh.
So you can do a little craft fair, then you can run out to the parade, and you can come back and wrap it up. Make a full day, or a half day of it anyways. All right?
Yeah.
And understand that the Beaumont Unified School District has selected a new president. I hear she's quite fantastic. Just saying.
Absolutely. She was, yes, she was nominated and selected last night. Our new board president is Miss Susie Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 6th time, I think, in her career. So.
Yes, and Vice President Brian Silva.
All right.
Yeah.
Good deal. That's all I have. Thank you very much, Bert.
So our next meeting is scheduled for January 8th, 4 p.m. If anybody's unable to make it, please let Kyle know so we can make sure we have a quorum. And you guys all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, safe New Year.
All right.
And meeting adjourned at 4:56.